This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, the sentencing of an Australian national for the deaths of 51 people in the Christchurch mosque shootings began today. 3 years of fundraising and planning has culminated in the raising of a time ball in Port Chalmers. And children's art, inspired by a walk around Dunedin's Botanic Gardens, is being shown in a new exhibition. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Simon Anderson. The landmark sentencing of the Christchurch mosque killer got underway today amid high security and a large crowd outside the Christchurch High Court. A 29-year-old Australian national has pleaded guilty to 51 counts of murder, 40 counts of attempted murder, and a charge under the Terrorism Suppression Act. Many gathered outside the courthouse this morning, where police have established a manned perimeter since the weekend. As part of the security measures, rigorous identity checking protocols for those wishing to enter the building were undertaken. The bulk of the sentencing will comprise of the 66 victim impact statements from survivors and family of those who were killed. The sentencing judge is expected to make a decision later in the week. Auckland will remain at alert level 3 until 11:59 p.m. this Sunday, while the rest of New Zealand remains at level 2. And masks are now mandatory on public transport and at level 2 and above. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern made the announcement this afternoon following a cabinet meeting. Ardern says level 2 alert restrictions will be in place for the week and will be reviewed on the 6th of September. An archaic piece of maritime history was refitted above Port Chalmers. The recently rebuilt time ball was craned up onto its mast as the fruition of 3 years planning and fundraising by local history buffs.
Engineers were busy at Port Chalmers last week installing the new time ball on Flagstaff Lookout. While it's now obsolete technology, back in the late 1800s, ship's captains were able to synchronise their chronometers by watching the ball drop at exactly 1 p.m.
Back in the old days, there used to be a timekeeper who'd come out and actually literally winch the thing up by hand, and in most cases winch it up by hand, and at a certain point he literally let the rope go and the thing would literally drop at 1 o'clock. So he'd literally undo the rope and go, no, 1 o'clock, boom. And that'd be how everyone would reset their time.
The hoisting of the new time ball onto the mast is a culmination of 3 years planning, plus a raising of $50,000 to recreate an important piece of maritime history.
There's actually not many of these working in the world. I believe there is currently 4. This is the 5th one, from what my understanding. So, yeah, there's not many of them.
The new version is set to run automatically using an air-pressured ram.
This will be air operated and will be running an air hose up one of the stays up to a ram which will be operating that, and it'll be all done from down in this bunker down here.
The new ball was made from marine-grade stainless steel by Littleton-based company Stark Brothers, who have also worked on reinstating the Littleton time ball and are looking at making others around the country.
Beautiful project to be involved with, and it's that community part of Mast's history, and when you originally consider that without these it wasn't possible to navigate around the world, let alone around the country, so it's quite impressive.
The timepiece, complete with information panels, is to be officially opened in the beginning of October. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Dunedin's former prison is about to undergo the second stage of its heritage restoration. New slates were delivered by crane to the prison last year in preparation for renovations. Thanks to the support from funders and local contractors, the project of repairing the roof and refurbishing cell blocks is about to begin. Scaffolding will go up around the site and a crane will hoist the slates to enable roof repairs in mid-September. Over 15,000 new slates will replace the old roof, with the project expected to take until March next year to complete. More than 100 works by preschool artists inspired by close encounters with the Dunedin Botanic Garden will go on public display this week. Dunedin teacher and visual artist Rod Eales has organised the Garden of Wonders exhibition. This is being hosted by the University of Otago College of Education.
This exhibition of astonishingly advanced art by Dunedin preschoolers is currently on display in the foyer at the Dunedin College of Education. Dunedin visual artist and preschool teacher Rod Eales attributes the success of her pupils' work to the sharing of her enthusiasm for art.
The biggest trick is probably my own passion. You don't have to be a great artist to do that. You have to generate an interest, you have to motivate, and you have to set challenges, because children love challenges. They love something different all the time, but linking back to what, you've got to keep the momentum going. And then they'll come back every day, day after day, week after week.
The children are currently at a preschool centre called Early Childhood on Stafford and were taken on field trips to places such as the Botanic Garden for inspiration.
There was a little fountain there, and there was a maze, and our slough was in the maze.
I've been doing it for about 17 years, taking children's interests and allowing them to explore and learn and develop their interests in both art and their subject matter for extended periods of time, say 3 months up to 6 months at a time.
Eales says the process of getting great art out of youngsters is not much different to teaching adults, as it all comes down to motivating her pupils.
I teach adults as well, so it's the same process, except you've got to talk to them in a wee bit of a different way, and the language is a lot simpler. But essentially, you're doing the same thing, only you're doing it in a play kind of way. You're making it fun. You don't make it sit down and learn about tone and learn about colour. You're learning about a subject and you're doing it together as a group.
The exhibition is on display at the College of Education until mid-September. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we cover a close-fought Heartland rugby final and we check in with a debate about the potential change to cannabis laws. See you after the break.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
Garage Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garage quality service. Garage Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Do you know Youth Grow in North East Valley? It's an awesome plant nursery where young people can work and learn life skills. You can now order your vegetable seedlings, herbs, bulbs and shrubs over the phone or by email. Either pick up your order on Norwood Street in North East Valley or they can deliver to you. Look for Youth Grow Garden Centre on Facebook or visit youthgrow.org.nz. Happy gardening!
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Nā mai anō, welcome back. Two country rugby teams battled it out in Oamaru on Saturday in the Premier Club rugby final. Defending champions Mahino fought a close-matched game against Valley, who were the champions the year before that.
The final of North Otago's Premier Club rugby competition was held in Oamaru on Saturday afternoon. Called the Citizen Shield, the final game was a close-matched affair between Valley and Mahino at the Whitestone Contracting Stadium. Valley had last won the Shield in 2018 and Mahino was this year's defending champion. There was a restriction on spectators due to Alert Level 2, but the game was broadcast on radio and streamed live on Facebook. Mahino led 19-14 at half-time, but Valley was able to keep Mahino scoreless in the second half to come back and win 22-19 for Valley. In Oamaru, the South today.
Cannabis legalisation was the subject of a referendum panel discussion hosted by Dunedin's Musselburgh Baptist Church. The public event streamed live online with panellists representing the Dunedin Multidisciplinary Study and the Say No to Dope campaign, as well as New Zealand Drug Foundation Chairman Tuari Portiki.
When New Zealand goes to the polls in October, voters will also decide on two referenda: the Right to Life Bill and whether to decriminalise cannabis. Dunedin's Musselburgh Baptist Church held a live event moderated by Otago Daily Times journalist Bruce Munro, with panellists representing different sides of the issue. Towards the end of the event, Munro asked what would change the panellists' mind about the proposed cannabis legislation and control bill.
That would probably be something, if the government backtracked on that the money, the tax, whatever tax was going to come out of tax, if that wasn't going to go into treatment, prevention and education and back into the communities that have suffered under the current law, then that could be something for me that I'd have to think pretty carefully about, to be honest.
If the proposed bill was going to have cannabis fully commercialised with advertising, then that would change my opinion too.
Yeah, right.
Because that takes it away from a harm minimisation strategy into something else. So.
If I could see proof that use actually went down instead of up, well, that would be very compelling, but I don't see that. Mm-hmm. But more practically, if I could believe that the black market would pack up and go home, then yeah, I absolutely would not be sitting here.
Say No to Dope campaign spokesperson Aaron Ironside says if cannabis is treated like alcohol, it will negatively impact on society.
So they definitely have their damages. And maybe at some technical level, alcohol is more dangerous, but that begs the question, why do we need a third legal dangerous substance for sale in New Zealand when alcohol is already so dangerous?
Dunedin Multidisciplinary Study researcher, Associate Professor Kirsten Robertson, says there are dangers with cannabis as well as alcohol, but one is worse than the other.
So, in some respects, if you look at dependency and addiction, some of the outcomes are similar in terms of interference and relationship issues, issues with employment issues. So in terms of health or global burden of disease, you're looking at far more negative consequences in terms of alcohol than cannabis.
The Drug Foundation's Tuari Portiki says he's firmly convinced of his beliefs and says there is research showing alcohol does more harm than cannabis.
And if you talk to people like Dr. Paul Quigley, who's the head of the Accident and Emergency Unit in Wellington, or Capital and Coast Hospital. He's been there for a long time. I was speaking to him not that long ago, and he said that Thursday, Friday and Saturday nights, 90% of what they're dealing with is alcohol related still, and that hasn't changed over the last decade.
The full version of the discussion is available at odt.co.nz. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Southlanders gathered at a Southland cemetery on Saturday to commemorate 100 years since the first burial. The 100-year milestone was described as significant in the history of the Lochiel community.
Cemetery Trust members commemorate 100 years since the first burial at Lochiel's Forest Hill Cemetery, located halfway between Invercargill and Winton. The cemetery's first grave belongs to Southland local George Pointer, who died aged 79 in August 1920. The cemetery reserve of 18 acres was leased for about 50 cents an acre when it first opened in 1920, with the community having landscaped the grounds for over 3 decades leading up to the first burial. The 100-year mark is described as a significant milestone in the history of the district, and a magnolia and yellow cedar tree were planted on the grounds to mark the occasion. In Southland, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, we're back on the southern sports fields catching up with Dunedin Club Rugby, and we take a look at the early week's weather. See you soon.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر.
Oh mate, I'm thinking about getting a new ute.
Garage Door Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garage Door's quality service. Garage Door Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Do you know Youth Grow in North East Valley? It's an awesome plant nursery where young people can work and learn life skills. You can now order your vegetable seedlings, herbs, bulbs and shrubs over the phone or by email. Either pick up your order on Norwood Street in North East Valley or they can deliver to you. Look for Youth Grow Garden Centre on Facebook or visit youthgrow.org.nz. Happy gardening!
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Thanks for staying with us. It was round 8 of Dunedin's Premier Grade Club Rugby competition on Saturday. Dunedin had too much pace out wide for Southern at Kettle Park as Dunedin took it out 26-15.
Welcome to the last report out here at Shark Park today. Dunedin got up 26-15 to regain the Ron Reggett Memorial, which a very prized possession of Southern. I've got with me Josh Tom, who's played his 50th game today. Congratulations, mate. We'll start with you. The game started with a hiss and a roar. There was no tackling for that first 10 minutes. What was going on there?
Oh, it was pretty physical, eh? We knew it was going to be a pretty tough slog out there off the bat, and playing any Southern side, it's always really physical.
But it was a good open first half. I mean, Dunedin scored 3 tries. I think Southern scored a couple, but it just really tightened up in that second half.
Yeah. I guess as the physicality of the game took its toll, the boys start slowing down a wee bit. But it's nice that we managed to keep our standards and then carry through and get another dot in the second half.
Righto, Mitch, just bring you in, mate. So talk me through it from a Southern point of view. You had your chances in that second half, but you just turned over the ball at the wrong times.
Yeah, obviously a few errors in the first half that we had, but we fixed them and corrected that there. But yeah, we built pressure, but credit to Dunedin. They were putting shots on when they needed to, and they got the momentum back, got the ball. But we're right there, and it was good heavy game, but well done to Dunedin on that one.
Righto, so there it is, mate. So that's 5 points for Dunedin. So that takes you, that puts you up the table. That guarantees a top 6 spot for you boys. So you'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. It's an awesome feeling to have that cemented as well, ahead of the last round robin game next week.
Righto, mate. And for you, Mitch, no points out of today's game. But I think you're reasonably safe. I mean, you'll now go into 6th spot. Who do you play next week, you boys?
We've got Kayak back at home, so it's going to be a big one. So I'm confident for the boys there we can get it.
Thanks, boys. And we will be back again with you next week.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. The sentencing of an Australian national for the deaths of 51 people in Christchurch mosque shootings began today, with victim impact statements being read out. 3 years of fundraising and planning has culminated in the raising of a time ball in Port Chalmers. And children's art, inspired by a walk around Dunedin's Botanic Gardens, is being shown in a new exhibition. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we have Craig Page with us. Kia ora, Craig.
Good evening. Yeah, big story today, of course, out of Christchurch with the sentencing of the Christchurch mosque gunman. We've got our man Rob Kidd up there for the day and really joining the throngs of media there, and really having to sit through some pretty harrowing stories as some of the victims began reading out their impact statements before the court today. Expected to go for 3 days, but it should stretch into 4 the way it's going at the moment. We've got full coverage tomorrow, of course, lots of detail there, including the impact statements of some people with Dunedin links as well. And of course, throughout the day we'll have coverage as well. Only allowed to file twice from the court, at 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock, so we'll have updates on our website over the next few days with that as well. COVID-19, of course, big announcement today as well. The Prime Minister keeping Auckland in lockdown to the weekend. But for the South, we're going to remain at level 2 for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. And I guess it allows us to do some things, but it's the businesses you feel for. They're missing out, not getting the tourists and the people travelling from other parts of the country as well. Yeah. Spoken to those in the hospitality industry, said it's another kick in the guts for them, which has been a really bad year all round, I guess. We're scheduled to have a university graduation this weekend, and they're huge for the city. It hasn't been cancelled at this stage, but of course the one a couple of weeks ago was, and it's probably shaping as being pretty likely as well, and that's a big loss for the city. On our travel pages, we're keeping it local as we can at the moment. Our own Tim Miller heads to the Catlins. We achieved first and went horse riding. It's the horse I feel for. And he's had a great few days down there, taken aback by the beauty and the peace of the area, and well recommends it to everybody to head down there and spend some time while you can. And on the sporting front, One of our favourite sons, Otago and Highlanders player Salala Mapasua, has landed a job as a Samoan rugby coach. He's been working for Otago Rugby Union for the last few years as a development officer, but will be cutting his ties and hoping to head to Samoa when travel plans allow. He's got some big plans for them as well, but they've been in a bit of a lull in recent years, that side, and he's hoping really to lift them up and I guess the carrot of possibly getting a Pacific Island side in the Super Rugby competition is something he would love to get involved with. So, yeah, we wish him well.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Starting off with the situation. Cold tomorrow with gusty southwesterlies and widespread showers. Some snow on the higher hills with sleet or hail possible at lower levels. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, rain for Greymouth and Westport, just a degree different on 14 and 13 degrees respectively. Across to the northeast, scattered showers for Nelson and 15 degrees. The rain's heavier in Blenheim and it's one cooler on 14. Moving down to Canterbury, it's rain across this area. Kaikoura reaches 12 degrees, Christchurch 11 and Ashburton is cooler again on 9 degrees. To the southern towns. It's cold, wet and gusty right across this area. Strong southwesterlies, showers and 7 degrees for all, the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. In central Otago, the southwesterlies and rain carry through, though are more moderate. Temperatures hover either side of the southern towns. Queenstown's the coolest on 5, Wanaka 6, Alexandra 7 and Te Anau 8 with showers clearing. To the northern towns, the southwesterlies and rain continue up the island, but are a little lighter here. Timaru and Oamaru reach 10 and 9 degrees. The inland towns are cooler, Twizel and Omarama both on 7 degrees. In Dunedin, showers developing tonight with an overnight low of 5. Mostly cloudy with showers tomorrow and some small hail possible. Very cold with those strong, gusty southwesterlies. A few sunny periods to develop late afternoon and showers clearing tomorrow evening. Here's hoping. A high of 8 and a low of 3. It's a bit finer by midweek with sun and moderate cool westerly winds, but high cloud increasing late in the day. Warmer too, a high of 11 and a low of 7 degrees. And in Invercargill, wintry showers tonight and a low of 5. Cloudy with showers tomorrow, some hail and sleet possible at first, but showers clearing during the afternoon and clouds breaking a little. Very cold with strong gusty southwest winds, a high of 8 and a low of 5. More showers developing on Wednesday with fresh to strong cold southwesterlies, a high of 10 and a low of 6 degrees. That's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and week. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.